Now you heard in the introduction that I didn't grow up in a big city like Baltimore. I didn't grow up in a big city like Washington, D.C. or New York or Buffalo or Detroit or Atlanta. It is true that I grew up in rural Alabama, 50 miles from Montgomery, outside of a little place called Troy. It is true that my father was a sharecropper, a timber farmer. But back in 1944, when I was 4 years old, and I do remember when I was 4. How many of you remember when you was 4? Now, what happened to the rest of us? Well, in 1944, when I was only 4 years old, my father had saved $300. And with the $300, he bought 110 acres of land. My family still owns this land today in rural Pike County, Alabama, 10 miles outside of Troy. Well, as a little boy, I became very good at raising chickens. When I was only about 7, 8 years old, my father and mother, my grandparents and my great-grandparents had taught me how to do it. When the setting hen was set, had to take the fresh eggs, mark with a pencil, place them under the setting hen, and wait for 3 long weeks for the little chicks to hatch. Some of you may be saying, now John Lewis, why do you mark those fresh eggs with a pencil before you place them under the setting hen? Well, from time to time, another hen will get on that same nest, and there will be some more eggs. And they'll be able to tell the fresh eggs from the eggs that were already under the setting hen. Do you follow me? You don't follow me, it's all right, it's okay. But these little chicks would hatch our food is setting in. I would cheat on these setting in. I would take these little chicks, put them in a box with a lantern. Or either take these little chicks, give them to another hen. Get some more fresh eggs, mark them with a pencil, place them under this setting hen, encourage the setting hen. They're still in the nest for another 3 weeks. I was never quite able to save $18.98 to order the most inexpensive incubator, a hatcher from the Silver Buck store. So I kept on cheating on the setting hen and fooling the setting hen. Now, most of the students, most of the young people, you're not old enough to remember the Silver Buck catalog. You remember that book? The Silver Buck catalog? That big book? Thick book? Heavy book? Some people call it the ordering book, the wish book. I wish I had this, I wish I had that. But as a little child, I just kept on wishing. But as a child about 8 or 9 years old, I wanted to be a minister. I wanted to preach the gospel. So from time to time, with the help of my brothers and sisters and my fresh cousins, we would gather all of our chickens together in the chicken yard. I together here. And then my brothers and sisters and cousins would line the outside, but around the chicken yard. But they helped make up the audience, the congregation. And then I would start speaking or preaching. And when I look back on it, some of these chickens would bow their heads. Some of these chickens would shake their heads. They never quite said amen. But I'm convinced that some of those chickens that I preached to in the 40s and the 50s tended to listen to me much better than some of my colleagues listen to me today in the Congress. As a matter of fact, some of those chickens were just a little more productive. At least they produce eggs. That's okay. That's enough of that story. In Selma, Alabama, only 2.1% of blacks of voting age were registered to vote. One county in Alabama, between Selma and Montgomery, the county was more than 80% African American, but there was not a single registered African American voter in the county. People had to pass a so-called literacy test. On one occasion, a man was asked to count the number of bubbles on a bar of soap. How many smart students here, professors, can count the number of bubbles in a bar of soap? Count the number of jelly beans in a jar. We had to change that. People had to pay a poll tax. My organization, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, organized something called the Mississippi Summer Project, where we recruited more than 1,000 students from all across America to come south to work in the Freedom School to help people pass the so-called literacy test. In the summer night of June 21st, 1964, 3 young men that I knew, Andy Goodman, Mickey Schreiner, and James Shaney, 2 whites and 1 African American, We're not to investigate the burning of an African-American church. Many of the churches in the heart of the Deep South are used for voter registration workshop to help people pass the so-called literacy test. These 3 young men were detained by the sheriff, arrested, later jailed, taken from jail, turned over to the Klan, but they were beaten, shot, and killed. That happened in America. And I tell young people and tell students, these 3 young men didn't die in Vietnam. They didn't die in the Middle East or Eastern Europe or in Africa or Central or South America. They died right here in America. So that's why I said that vote is precious. We have other rivers to cross. We have other bridges to go. But I tell you, we've come a distance. If for anybody that said nothing has changed, the only thing I said, come and walk in my shoes. Come and walk in my shoes. So hang in there, keep the faith, and never ever give up. Never ever get lost in a sea of despair. We have other bridges to cross, other mountains to climb. Thank you very much.